Welcome back to our second tape. This tape deals with throwing. Here we're testing the direction of balance, where balance is good and stable and where it is weak. In this tape, we're going to deal more with the principles of throwing so that you're able to throw from any direction. You see that his balance is weak at this point and it's weak in this point, in those directions from where his feet are. As his feet step, that direction point through triangulation changes and moves according to his step. So these would be the direction of the force or pressure to unbalance the person and throw that person to the ground according to how they step and according to their balance. You can also break the vertical plane. In other words, taking the alignment of the spine and moving it out of a vertical alignment. It makes the body then very easy to throw down, showing that you can utilize the head by twisting it to break the vertical plane. By just twisting the head off of line, you align the spine, and then you can move to unbalance the person. You can unbalance the person by locking the hip, by pulling the arms, and then those points that we talked about and looked at earlier can be exploited through the direction of force. Throwing is probably the most grand of all areas of the martial art. There's nothing like taking a person and making them airborne. This shows how the knees and also thighs pushed in a certain direction unbalance, also at the shoulders. So at the different junction points, head and neck, shoulders, hips, arms, thighs, knees, etc., you can unbalance a person to throw them down. Your body must also be in an alignment of power, where your power is going in the direction of the throw, stepping into, dropping the weight in to the area where you're going to deal with the throw. This second tape will deal with throwing and the principles of throwing and how they apply to the martial science. Most of the things that we'll be doing are for practice purposes. The chin strike, although we're pushing the person down, this is for the safety of our partner, because martial art is social and we don't want to hurt our partner. So you must also have a comprehensive falling program to learn how to fall to dissipate the power so that no one is injured. This, although we're pushing, is a strike utilized very violently. We push for the safety of our partner. Also, inside of this, there are the regular kicks and punches that we've seen in the other tapes. Once the vertical plane is broken by the backward push, then we apply the force downward. Also, we utilize the fingers into the eyes to go straight down. But for the safety of our opponent, we're just simulating, of course, this movement. See how the fingers are in the areas of the eyes, and it would go into the eyes and down. Now, my opponent would normally, in fighting mode, have both hands up, but for the clarity of the tape, we have him putting his rear hand down so that there's no misconception of the movement by the other hand being in the way. But normally his other hand would be up and not down at his side. It would be up in fighting position. So you would have to weave in and through his second hand and always guard against the second hand striking. Since we aren't putting falling on this tape, you should practice falling daily until you can perform all the movements of the back fall, the front fall, side falls, rolls forward and backwards, so that there's safety inside of the movement. One thing about the back fall that we always stress is that you get your buttocks low to the ground and then roll back so that the force is dissipated. Now we will look at the same type of movement, this time with a trip to augment the throw. And it's according to the body position, it's according to the way the opponent steps, whether you put the leg in or not. The throw can be performed perfectly without the trip. Sometimes the trip is necessary, sometimes the trip is not necessary. It's according to the situation. This is not fighting, and you must learn to be able to apply these moves in a real-time fighting situation. These movements aren't something that you plan to do. They are things that happen within the course of combat. But since we are looking at throwing, we isolate these movements and put them into an area where you can practice them over and over to protect the movements, body mechanics, steps, and hip positions, so that your throw, when that time comes, when that time makes itself presented to you, you can exploit that particular technique in real-time combat. Whether it be tripping with the rear leg, whether you step in deeply, slide the leg back, whether you kick the leg, or whether you step in and sweep and hook with the front leg. Either technique is valid, and it's according to the hip position, whether you use the front foot or the rear front foot, and also according to your opponent. Because your opponent is always 50% of every technique, your opponent's position. You must also learn that your body weight, your hip position, your ability to transfer the speed of your body weight, the speed and power of your steps, the speed and power of putting your center into the opponent's zones of fragileness, where his balance is weak, where his power is void. This